Welcome to the wisdom of hypnosis. My name is Gewanter, and I'm here today to explain and share with you the power, uses, and wisdom of hypnosis. We use hypnotherapy for therapeutic purposes to help with all sorts of things, from quitting smoking to weight loss to changing bad habits to encouraging good habits like peak performance in sports, golf, tennis, or academics, being able to study better, being able to recall information better, as well as for dealing with past traumas or other elements from past history. My background is that I am a trained and licensed certified hypnotherapist, as well as a licensed clinical social worker. I got my original training as a social worker at Columbia University in 1981, so I have been working with people with all different issues for many, many years. I have received a number of different trainings and am able to use them eclectically to help in a particular session. One of my training is as a certified hypnotherapist. I'm also trained as a certified instructor of hypnosis through the National Guild of Hypnosis. Part of hypnosis is understanding that it's a very natural state of being, and in fact, the use of hypnotic techniques has been around for centuries. Hypnosis involves two elements. One is being able to go into a trance state. The other is the use of suggestion. Now, people go in and out of trance all the time. They just don't always realize it. For example, what we call highway hypnosis, when you're driving the car and you get where you want to go without even thinking about it, and your mind is just sort of daydreaming about something else, you drive perfectly safely, you arrive at your destination, have no idea how you got there. That's a trance state. It's a light trance. So clearly you can be in trance and have your eyes open and your ears open and still in trance. And in fact, advertisers know this and use it when they advertise on the radio. And so now that you know, you also can be careful about what you're hearing and what you're seeing, because you know that if you're in a light trance state, your mind is more open to suggestion. So if you're hearing an advertisement with a suggestion that you don't want your mind to have, change the channel, shut it off, or plug your ears and look away so that you don't give that suggestion to your mind. On the other hand, if there's a positive suggestion, then of course we want to take that in. And you can tell your mind, that's a good one, I want that. And it will help the suggestion go in deeper to the subconscious mind. When we go into trance, you could say there are two parts of the mind. There's the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is only about 10% of what goes on. Very small part of the mind. It's the part that has short-term memory, that thinks it thinks, that we're aware of the thinking, that plans, organizes, and analyzes. It's sort of the rational part of the mind. However, it's also a very slow part of the mind. It's the part when you're learning something new that you have to think about everything. Like if you remember learning something new, like when you first learned to drive a car, and you had to think about where to put your arms and your legs and watching and feeling, and it was a very slow, laborious process. However, after we do it over and over and over, numbers of times, repetition, it goes into the subconscious mind, and it is then automatic, and we don't have to think about it. So the subconscious is a very helpful part of the mind. And it takes up, I would say, about 90% of what goes on. It's the part that holds all the long-term memory. It's the part that has emotions and feelings, developmental stages, all the automatic functions. Like we don't need to think about breathing or our heart beating in order to breathe or have our heart beat. But the subconscious takes care of all of that. Part of the process in the hypnosis session will be that we will do an evaluation to see exactly what suggestions will be helpful for you. So we gear the session to each individual person and each individual session. So as you're preparing for your hypnosis session, you might think about what are some of the things that you would like to hear as suggestions for your own mind and to capture the power of your inner mind. What you can expect from the hypnosis session is that we will guide you into a trance. First, there'll be a relaxation process. We often use a number of different techniques to help people go into trance. A trance feels very relaxed, comfortable. A lot of people don't even realize they're in trance, as we said, but part of what the learning is that I will teach you how to recognize a trance in yourself so you'll know when you're in a trance. We'll go into the trance, and then when you're in that trance state, be able to do the work that you came to do. Taking in the positive suggestions, clearing old habit patterns, releasing negative thought processes and negative suggestions. And then there'll be a process of returning awareness to present-day situation. Most people feel like their session is actually very, not only relaxing, but refreshing. They come out of it feeling really good, almost like having had a wonderful power nap or a great night's sleep where you wake up feeling refreshed, relaxed, but, feeling really good because we've done some good work. And when the mind is in a trance, it's actually a very deep, restful state. Now, you're not asleep. And that's one of the myths about hypnosis. Sometimes people think they'll be asleep. But the only time people go into what's called a somnambulant state, which is like sleep, is when you have to do very, very deep work or use hypnosis for pain or anesthesia. And in fact, hypnosis can be used effectively. For example, when people go to the dentist or if someone's allergic to an anesthetic, they can use the power of the mind and suggestion to help not feel pain. The other myth is that you won't be aware of anything, but in fact, you can hear, you could even open your eyes, you can get up and move about and still be in a trance state. Some people feel that, some fear that they give up control of themselves. But the truth is that you can never actually be made to do anything that's basically against your will or against your basic nature. You always have choice about what you do. And so I cannot hypnotize someone against their will. If you want to be hypnotized, you can be. If you don't want to be, then no one can force you. Some people get afraid that they'll never come out again. But in fact, even if you were in a deep trance and I went away, you would just naturally come out of it, either by choice when you wanted to, or within normally about 10 minutes. It's sort of like a waking up from a sleep state. Now, if at any time you feel uncomfortable with the hypnosis session, anything that is said or done, all you need to do is either say stop or put your hand up like a stop signal, and we will stop right away and talk about what happened. I want to thank you for listening and know that I am here to help. So do let me know exactly what you want to work on. And the more specific you can be about the suggestions you want and need, the more effective we can be to help capture and use the wisdom and power of your subconscious mind. Thank you again.